Coming to you from the Ultra Staff Studios in Chicago, welcome to the Staffing Buzz Network with your host, Bob Pettke.
Hello, everyone. I am Bob Pettke. I'm the Chief Sales Officer here at Automated Business Designs, and I'm also the host of the Staffing Buzz Network. I can't believe it, but we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary of the podcast platform. So, for those of you who have listened to us throughout the year, we want to thank you. If you've been listening on your favorite podcast platform, or if you've been watching us on the YouTube channel, thank you. We appreciate your engagement. What's nice is we look upon and reflect on this past year. We've had 13 great guests on our podcast. So what we have done for our anniversary episode is we have put together clips highlighting the 13 guests that we had and providing a takeaway from each one of those podcast episodes. So we hope you enjoy it. Go ahead and watch it and go ahead and count off the 13 takeaways, and thanks for watching.
The thing I would say about the two guys that I was partners with in the staffing company world was they were friends that I've known since at least high school. One of them goes back to kindergarten with me, and we all had a different array of skills, and together we had helped each other out over the years. But the real genius, I guess, the real benefit to the mix was we trusted one another, and we loved one another with that brotherly love. Sure. To be selfless. Because when I talk to clients all the time as a business lawyer, and folks would often come to me to set up a business or a new entity because they wanted to go into partnership with somebody or have an entity with them, I'd caution them and say, listen, you're gonna be fine. You'll only have difficulty if you become really successful or if things fail. Those are the two times when you're going to have trouble.
On the trajectory that we're at now, what do you see as how AI is going to reflect that client-customer partner relationship?
Well, I said this on my webinars. I said it on stage a couple weeks back at SIA's healthcare conference. I think the first thing we have to understand is that I personally believe AI, this change is not only going to be the biggest change in my lifetime, it's going to be the biggest change in the history of lifetimes. So, and I tell people all the time, Bob, don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through. This is a case where you got to lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I mean it sincerely when I say, when you look at things like AI, we have a saying at Butler Street: technology for transactions, people for relationships. We're never going to diminish the relationship side of the business because it's still people buying from and selling to people. But you got to get in front of people. And any task that AI can do better than a human should be outsourced to AI.
What are you seeing as far as your hit rate to getting a meeting to somebody, as opposed to, like, out of 10, what do you think is a good success rate to have a discovery meeting with somebody?
I would say 5 to 7 touches. Here's what I always say. The best thing is to take a day and build your own list. I build all my own lists, dude. I'm like the playbook. My playbook is my playbook. When you call a company, guess what? If that admin's in the beginning, they're going to give you the key person. They're going to give you and ask for the email. Don't be scared to ask for the direct, all that stuff. You jot that down. You get 20 companies. If you can't close 10 of them in 6 months, you're doing something wrong. And they're using staffing. Go after low-hanging fruit and then go for the ones that never used staffing or did and got burnt. And you can tell them why you're better, and it works all the time. These simple things that we're not using anymore, I'm going back to the basic books, just like the Bill Belichick, I call it, Okay, and boom. Yeah. And it's rocking out, man.
Hourly worker, they recognize that they, of course, need to work to create stability, but how they're willing to do that and what they're willing to do during those hours has changed. And so they won't take any more whatever is being offered. They want choice. They want to be treated well, and they'll work really hard, and they will be incredibly loyal in those jobs. But if the employer isn't meeting them where they are more apt to move and take another opportunity. And of course, they're out there, right? I mean, we still have almost 2 jobs for every working person. And so maybe previously a worker would not take the opportunity to move as quickly as we see today. They just won't take on an environment where they're not comfortable.
A lot of people look at the staffing industry, and if you're in it, you tend to think that we've been commoditized, right? You think about, there's not a ton of brand loyalty, when we're actually in selling situations, we're oftentimes having to be compared or compete against somebody else, right? And a lot of times what happens in that situation is the salesperson is left to compete on price. We get that objection, and I'm sure you've seen it. You've been around the game a long enough time to know that the buyer will say, hey, if you can beat or match my current price, I will give you a shot. And what that says is that the potential buyer is only seeing price as the value, not the actual deliverable. And unless that salesperson has a rock solid understanding of what that unique value proposition really is, meaning the value that they actually provide to a customer with the data and the messaging to back it up, they're kind of stuck. And that's really the biggest challenge that most salespeople are facing right now, especially.
I'd say that one piece of advice would be think about your ideal audience, who you're trying to get in front of. Then think about, where do they already spend time? What are they a member of? What associations, organizations do they listen to the webinars of? Do they attend conferences? Where do they show up and get involved in those spaces? Because most often those groups are nonprofits and they are thrilled to have volunteers. And so if you can join a committee, sometimes it's an hour a month, right? Like, it is not necessarily always a big lift. But let me just give you an example. Let's say you're trying to get in front of this audience. They all are part of this association. And you say, look at that. According to the website, they're looking for someone to join their membership committee. And I join their membership committee. All of a sudden, oh darn, I have to meet every single person that joins the association. Now, I will say it's not intended to be a sales pitch for you. Absolutely not.
It's what we do with the 24 hours today that matters. And I think that's what took me in my life and catapulted me, because every single day my goal is to be my best, to live up to my potential, and to not compare myself to others, but compare myself to, David, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? And that's state police to business to author to speaker. It's just always been that journey of just trying to improve, because we only get one shot at this thing called life, right? I like to say there is no warm up in life. There is no practice. So it's just about showing up each day and giving your best.
And one day I just thought to myself, you know what? I have to choose my grit. Because when grit comes knocking for me, which of course it did, and it does for everybody, I want to be better prepared for when it does hit. And one day I just decided to up and leave. I locked all my money away. I had nothing when I came to the US. No money, no food, no home, no social, no car. There was even a period of time in my life where I went for 3 days without eating, because it was a choice between a roof over my head or food on the table. And I chose to have a roof over my head. And as a result of choosing that very grit and seeing what I've built today from nothing, just instills not just the belief in me, but the belief in others. And it shows others what is possible.
Say when it comes to the job market, most of the jobs have been in government, they've been in leisure and hospitality, and they've been in healthcare. We've also seen a softening in the professional and business service sector. We thought that manufacturing jobs would have come back sooner. They're building all these manufacturing plants across the country, but we're not there yet. So, I'm optimistic that the future, certainly, looking at 2025, that hopefully things will get a bit better. But I have been surprised.
You mentioned 25,000 staffing companies, right? It's a large industry. We believe there's a big pie out there. We don't need the whole pie. We've never been. We want to be agnostic to the industry. We want to be able to come in as an industry. We want to lift it. We want to bring the entire PO industry with us into the staffing world and let staffing companies know this is a great place for you that you want to be aware of, because there's so many misinformations out there about what a PEO does and the control they take.
There are absolutely parts of our industry that are completely repetitive, that are completely mundane, that do not add any value, and they absolutely have to be automated. We've been saying this for years, that if you see a recruiter doing something 5 times or more, just figure out a way to automate that. Use Sense to create another automation journey. So I think that's the second thing that we notice a lot. And this obviously plays really well because the industry now is partly remote and partly working from home and partly your people are working from home. So, an automated touch point is now much easier to manage. And the third big thing, which I'm sure everybody who's listening here would agree with me, is just how quickly this industry is trying to or already has adopted AI. There is AI everywhere. Obviously, it's a big buzzword, but I think our industry is the one where people are using facets of AI immediately.
This is money that you didn't previously have access to, and you can then use it at your discretion. Increase the bottom line, use it to hire additional employees, get additional office, chairs, whatever you need. It's just another source of revenue for the organization, no matter how big or small.
We developed was this 4-step method that really brought in these fundamental universal truths to help people find their purpose. So that way, when you find out who you are and how we define purpose is the best of what you have to help other people, then you can truly experience the best of what life has for you.
There's a saying that a lot of the folks and some of my colleagues, past and present, have when it comes to staffing. And it's the saying, if staffing were easy, anyone can do it. More specifically, and I'm glad that you were able to share your story, how you got into staffing, because I'm a firm believer that we don't necessarily choose staffing as staffing professionals. Somehow, some way, some shape or form, staffing chooses us.
So there you have it, your 13 takeaways from the Staffing Buzz Network over this past year. We hope you enjoyed the recap, and if you did, and you're not subscribed now, make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or go to our YouTube page, and you can find us there. This way you can watch us as well. So with that said, on behalf of Automated Business Designs and our team here at the Staffing Buzz Network, I want to wish you very happy holidays and a happy new year. See you in 2025, and just keep a lookout for our upcoming episodes on the Staffing Buzz Network.